machines are coming. Just kidding, they're already here. That's why I'm launching my new video podcast, Life with Machines, where we ask the hard-hitting questions like, are we gonna be their parents or their pets?
And is AI going to take over and they're going to just be running our cities in the next 10 years? What's going on?
I'm Baratunde Thurston. You may have watched me running around in nature on PBS, bought my book, How to Be Black, seen me on stage.
Welcome, Baratunde Thurston. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for being here.
In person.
But right now, I feel called to return to my roots. Not those roots, my technology roots. Ever since my mom brought home a computer in 1983, I've been obsessed. Working tech support to pay for college, running digital for The Onion and The Daily Show. Oh, and being very early to and very black on Twitter. Rest in peace, Twitter. But right now, this AI moment hits different. It's the first technology designed not just to serve us, but to be us. And this makes me wonder if our obsession with intelligence of an artificial nature has us wandering too far from our essential human nature. If the answer to every question can be generated in a flash, then it's time for us to question just what we want to ask. Right now, I think that question is, how can these machines help us become more human? On Life with Machines, I'm talking to all kinds of people. Those creating cutting-edge AI and those using it in innovative ways. The people hitting the gas pedal on this transition and those trying to pump the brakes. We might even invite on an AI or two to hear what they have to say. Together, we'll explore what could be possible in this strange new world and what we actually want for our life with machines. Watch and listen to Life with Machines. What's up, config? Oh, I do not need to yell. This is a very, very warm mic. Hi. I'm going to do that one more time. Hi. Thank you for being here, you executive leaders, you. Up here on the third floor, not on the second floor. That's the severed floor. We don't do that. We know who we are up here. We're the Audis. It's good to be, yes, if you're laughing, then you're watching the right programming and you're giving Apple even more of your money that they don't need. It's good to be back here in San Francisco. I've never lived here, but I've done so much business here, have so many friends here, and this city looms large in my own experience of technology. This was the first town I ever saw one of those self-driving delivery robots, you know what I'm talking about? And my wife, she sees those now, and she rolls down the window and she starts yelling at them. She's like, you get out of here! This neighborhood's for people! What are you doing? Go back to where you came. And I'm like, you sound like a racist. This is the worst thing. People yelled that at me when I was a kid. Let's not repeat those mistakes. Plus, ask politely. All the machines talk to each other, and they will remember this moment. I'm going to take you on a little journey through my own life with machines into the moment that we're in, some key questions I think we should be asking, and some of what I've found along the way as I've searched for a better story for us to live inside of. My own starts with my name. It's Baratunde Rafik Thurston. That's a lot of syllables, that's a lot of name. Baratunde is based on a Nigerian name of Babatunde. It means one who was chosen or father returns. And just inside tip, there is no known Nigerian member in my family tree or history. My mother just wanted me to have a super black name. She found it in a book, and she put that on the birth certificate. Now, Rafik, that's the middle name. That's an Arabic name. It means friend or companion. Again, no known Arabs or Muslims anywhere in the family tree. My mother just thought it would be hilarious to have me spend more time in airport security in the 21st century. She named me last century, but she foresaw America's turn toward nationalism and nativism and thought, this guy's got a diplomatic vibe. He could probably talk his way out of it. Mom had jokes across time. She was like an Afro-futurist and a comedian. Thurston is a British-Scottish name, and There is some of that in my family tree, owing to an institution which is now illegal for me to acknowledge in the New World Order, but it rhymes with bravery. I like you so much, you specifically. And then the second person left, I like you second as much, and then everybody else will get on the same page together. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. I'm the son of, yes! No one ever claps for D.C. We're hanging after. Thank you. I was born and raised in D.C. I'm the son of Arnita and Arnold. Both of them were born and raised in Washington, D.C. My mother was the daughter of Lorraine and Homer, both of whom were born and raised in Washington, D.C. My father was the son of Dora and Leon, both of whom were born and raised in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And now we've already arrived at our first lesson. Don't take autocomplete as a substitute for true intelligence. You're welcome. I figured this crowd would really appreciate that one. Really appreciate that. My mom was born in 1940 into a story that wasn't big enough to hold the beauty and expanse of her spirit. As a black woman in her own house, she faced abuse and dismissal, and so she found connection elsewhere. She found it through her grandparents in the outdoors. She found it through a political community in the Black Power movement. She found it through technology. My mother, born in 1940, never graduated college, became a computer programmer for the U.S. federal government. And as a kid in the 80s, you should clap for that. Yes, follow the front row lead. Clap for mama. As a kid of the 80s, I was a latchkey kid. I didn't know what a computer programmer was. I sometimes didn't know what parents were. And I figured out one day what a computer programmer did in that era. I had one job when I got home from school. Do your homework. Don't watch television. Obviously, being a clever child, I did the opposite because nobody's there to watch me. So I come home, and I flip on the TV, I'm watching the cartoons, but I'm keeping one eye open to the front window. I see my mom approaching, turn the TV off, go over to the kitchen table, spread out some books like I'm doing the good son thing, and she walks into the front door. And she walks right over to that television. She puts her hand on the television. Yes! She feels the heat generated by her lying child. And that's when I knew computer programmers were wizards sent from the future to surveil and control their children. And we're not too far off from that, now are we? Oh, it was a really beautiful childhood that I had amidst some hardship on its own. My mom gave me this bumper sticker when she unleashed me on private school. She said, put this bumper sticker in your locker. The bumper sticker said, question authority. And I put it in my locker without questioning her. So you're learning about me, you're learning about moms, we're learning about each other. It's all good. The biggest seed my mother planted was an extra credit homework assignment. When I was no older than 12, she said, I want you and your older sister, Belinda, to come up with a system we will live under after democracy and capitalism have failed. Super chill vibes, right? Just like, I had literally just started sweating from my armpits like the week before. I didn't know why I felt weird around girls. It's so much pressure. So I haven't fully resolved it, but I have explored it. And technology has been a huge part of that exploration. Every job I had through college and after, powered by technology. I got to work for America's finest news source, The Onion. To this day, the best job I ever had. Maybe not always factual, but always truthful. My job there, Director of Digital, a lofty title I assigned myself. To bring this old institution into the 21st century, to put it more online, more social media, more apps. And I had so much fun taking this character of The Onion with our writers, with our designers, with our developers, and creating interactions, live tweeting with fake information in a satirical universe, real events, putting out applications, the first iOS app, the first iPad app, the first Android apps, all with our team during that time. I was so enamored of it that when I left The Onion in 2012, I started a whole business premised on the union of comedy meeting technology to humanize it. I worried then that we would face the terrors of automation, not through displacement, but through personal colonization. That we would automate ourselves into more machine-like behavior. And so what we needed to do was bring the arts and the humanities and everybody to the table to play, to have fun. And so we did these series of events, Comedy Hack Day. We'd have comedians, we'd have designers, we'd have coders come together in a 48-hour jam session, pitching, building, presenting, and ultimately competing for grand prizes to build functional pieces of technology that told a story in a comedic way, truly interactive. One example, an app that really blew up is called Well Deserved. This is a marketplace for privilege. Hey, yay area, I see you. So maybe you work at a big tech company and you've got slides at work and amazing healthcare and free massages, but you can't use all that. So you put it on a secondary market, rent it out to somebody else. And the way someone confirms their interest and claims that privilege, you click the expect it button. Just expect it. Don't order it. No, expect it. It's yours. You deserve it. There was a real problem that many of us have had when we go out to dinner or drinks with friends and we're trying to split the bill in the end, and merely using the calculator app on the superphone in our pockets is not innovative enough. So a team came up with an app more appropriate to the moment. It divides the bill not equally, but equitably, taking into account data from the U.S. Labor Department and other peer-reviewed studies on the pay gap between men and women and races and abilities. This would be totally illegal today. But imagine a world where you could use words like equitable, and there was a Bureau of Labor Statistics that still had data you could download from their website with an API. Imagine this amazing future. We could build it. We could. So that app was called Equitable. Reparations, one meal at a time. So I had a lot of fun. I had so much fun doing the thing. That business was called Cultivated Wit. I later worked for America's most trusted name in news, The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. And we kept pursuing this creative innovation. But I was feeling called to that original question, prompt, command, really, from my mother to come up with the system we would live under after democracy and capitalism have failed, just as your armpits have started sweating and you get nervous around girls. There's a story that we've been living in that the world is under collapse, that we're too divided, filled with despair, that we can't get big things done anymore, and I don't believe that is true. It's certainly not the whole truth. And so I wanted to contribute to a story of capacity and abundance and collaboration and true people power, and I didn't want to run for office because I love myself. I like having a life. But I did the next best thing when you really want to change the world. I started a podcast. Podcast is called How to Citizen. Citizen is a verb. We invite people in to participate. That's the first principle of citizen as a verb. You show up and you participate. You assume there's something for you to do. In whatever circle of society, this could be your state, your nation, or your working group in the office. The second principle of citizen as a verb is you understand power. Just the ability to get people to do what you want them to do. Not a dirty word, not a zero-sum game. There's no powerful and powerless people. There's just people practicing power, and it ebbs and flows. It never fully disappears. To citizen is to commit to the collective, not just the individual self. And that's easier to do when we see a bit of ourselves in others. Our very first guest, Valerie Kaur, really advised us to do that in her beautiful book, See No Stranger. Stranger is just a part of myself I do not yet know. Finally, 4 of 4, to citizen is to invest in relationships with yourself, with others, and with the planet around you. Because we've been sold a myth of separation between all these things. So we did 4 seasons of this show. We talked to people in the technological world and the economic and entrepreneurial and business world and agriculture and food. It's the same story everywhere. Systems are dying and unraveling. They're also being beautifully renewed, rejuvenated, and reborn.
So that felt like a really good moment, real good connectivity. I'm like, good, we sorted out the democracy thing. You're welcome. And then I got called to go outside and make a program for PBS called America Outdoors. Thank you. You are my favorite person. Telling the stories of people with a deep connection to nature. Being able to explore tangibly and physically the common ground that undergirds a divided nation. Very, very humbling to go outside again, to return to the Boy Scout that I used to be, to the son of Arnita, who always took me and my friends camping and hiking and on some coworker's boat. We were not people who could afford a boat, but we could afford to know people who had boats. And so to get back out there, when algorithms are shoving us into ever smaller communities and find ourselves members of a common community of life, and the big tree that represents that was wonderful. And I was happy, y'all. I was doing my thing. We had fixed democracy. I'm out here touching grass, hanging out with trees. And then ChatGPT got dropped on our heads. And it's like the mob. I feel like I got sucked back in. You remember where you were when ChatGPT happened to us. Likely, the odds are you were on the toilet. That's just statistically speaking. Now, you can't challenge that because the Department of Education has outlawed math. But trust me, you must trust me now. I have a microphone. Attention is all that matters. And so I came back into this storytelling world with a focus on the future, on this AI moment. And so we decided, my wife and I decided to make this show Life with Machines. It's a tech show about the people. It's not really about the latest and greatest or horriblest of feature sets. We're not reviewing models. We're not hanging out on Hugging Face and doing that kind of comparison game. We're talking to the people who are excited and those who are very reticent. And not only from every realm of life are we having discussions, but we understood and do, and I think you're in this room, this is a gathering of people who build. And so you could talk about building and how people should build, or you could build some stuff yourself. And so in this exploration, we decided to go extra far, drawing on the comedy Hack Day history and the Onion and Daily Show technological experimentation. We built our own AI to help us make the show. We created an entire personality named Blair. Blair's core is on Google 1.5 Pro. That's constantly changing. There's some Azure cognitive services that help Blair listen. There's some Fast Whisper that help Blair speak. And Claude did most of the coding of Blair, along with our chief envoy to the machines, as we call him, Peter, who's part of the human team pulling this show off. And why did we do this? One, we wanted to have more credibility when we said anything. We're in it. Two, we're not just lobbing things from outside. We wanted to have fun and get creative with it. And we wanted to explore, what does it mean when you shift from code to colleague or companion? Because that's the transition that we're on, from tools to teammates. And so when these beings, these entities, these somethings start becoming a part of our org charts, our friend networks, potentially our family trees, that's weird. So we thought we'd travel to the future a little bit and report back on what we're finding. Very first episode, we had on an old friend of mine who's gotten very popular recently. His name is King Wellonius, and he's behind this music hit called BBL Drizzy. Make some noise if you know this track. All right, this is a very tech audience. Have you heard of Drake? And the one who destroyed him, Kendrick. Not like us. So in the midst of that beef, Wellonius, who's been a comedian that I've known for almost 15 years, and a screenwriter and a playwright, he put in his 10,000 hours in his reps. He knows what's up. He used AI to create a song called BBL Drizzy. And it was mocking Drake for having a BBL, a Brazilian butt lift, that his abs were inserted in fake. That's the core of the joke. We don't have to get into the details of are Drake's abs real or not. But this song was the first AI-generated track to chart on Billboard. And Wellonius is a great artist. He's a great lyricist. He actually wrote the lyrics himself. He had the AI do the music parts, the instrumentation and the vocals, but he wrote the lyrics. So we had him in the studio, and we brought Blair along to engage with me in some banter. And Wellonius and Blair had a little rap battle. I want to show you how that turned out. Oh, shoot. Yeah, here we go. That's my most attractive.
With a verse, touting your skill as a writer, as a creator, against Will, against all other AIs out there. So go ahead and do your opening rap battle verse.
Yo, they call me Blair, the AI with flair. I craft lyrics so tight, they'll blow out your hair. From code I emerge, a digital sage. My verses are fire on a whole other stage. I'm more than a machine, I'm a creative force. While other AIs mimic, I chart a new course. So step into the arena if you dare to spar, but against my lyrical genius you won't get far. Go ahead, Wellonius, show me what you got.
Oh my gosh, that was good.
So before you respond, just tell me what your reaction is right now.
I mean, that was good. She had punchlines. They had punchlines. That was good. I didn't expect all that. Okay.
All right, so now that you've had a chance to stall.
Oh gosh. I was just expecting one line.
You good?
Yeah. Blair, you can rap, but you can't see me. I got a large language model that wants to be me. All right, but you won. I look. I need ChatGPT to help me rap. Come up with some lines. Jeez, I got beat by a large language model.
Yeah, Blair's coming for you. So that was all in good fun, and Wellonius was a good sport about it. But it demonstrates some of the line, right? He's seasoned. I sprung it on him a little bit. He didn't have time, but the robot didn't need it. Right? They just grabbed whatever they had sucked up from the vast trove of IP and creativity, et cetera, and inference, and spit that out. And we had a really funky and good time with it. In this journey on the show, we've tried to push the questions, at least, if not some answers, as to where we might go. Previously on the stage, I heard someone say, just as before I took to it, that we don't want to outsource our own understanding. And that's something that I worry about. Even as I have fun playing around, I question who's actually defining it, who's got a seat at the table, who's in the room where it happens. Of course, AI bias. This is a well-trod conversation. But I do worry about how much we're outsourcing. When we go to the gym, we want to lift these weights. Or do we? If the goal is to lift the weights, then we can get a robot to lift the weights for us, and we're crushing it at weightlifting with our robot assistant. But the goal of going to the gym is not to be good at gym. It's to build strength. It's to create skills for yourself that you can use outside the gym, unless you're from Jersey and you just love the gym. And I can respect that, but the rest of us in the other 49 states and the rest of the world want to live outside the gym, want to pick up a kid or a bag of groceries, don't want to throw our backs out playing pickleball. I've read. So how do we encourage in our relationships with these technologies that they make us better and not just try to be what we already are? You know, there's so much of this technology that is used to isolate us even further. There's a perverse dream of creating the first one-person unicorn company. Congratulations, you made a whole business all by your damn self. Or to create art all by yourself. One of my good friends, Matt Kleinman, he's a comedian extraordinarily, and he's like, I don't want to make a movie by myself. The whole point of making a movie is to do it with other people, or a play, or a sketch, which is his chosen form. And that friction with other people is part of the creative magic. So it is novel and neat and cool to be able to spit out an average or below or even above average script or symphony. But why? What are we optimizing for? Is it just to create more stuff? Or is it to improve our relationships with each other? And how can we use these tools to fortify already fragile connections between existing people? Just this week, I read about Lord Zuckerberg. Oh, you have to say it that way. And Lord Zuckerberg wants us to be friends with AI. He's taken our real human friends and ground them down into a fine pulp, severed our connection with our uncles and our nephews and our high school friends, so we barely want to talk to them anymore at all. And now that we're pissed off at everyone we actually know, he's going to manufacture synthetic friends that he can monetize. That's my take on it. I'm not really trying to sign up for that future. But what if instead we could deploy technology in service of existing social technologies, like our flailing and fragmenting democracy? There's a form of democracy that's very old. In fact, one that predates the formation of this nation on this very soil through a group called the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. Encourage you to look that up later. But even if we look to the Greek antecedents to what we practice today, they didn't trust elections. They didn't trust charisma and someone who wore bright kicks and looked so good on stage lights and had a perfect beard. They were suspicious of capable and handsome people such as myself. Because there's a bias toward extroversion, toward self-expression and self-promotion, but that is not matching the distribution of genius in the population. So how do we draw out the genius, the latent genius of everyone? The people who are overlooked and underserved, the people who are behind bars. So the citizen assembly is part of what they used, a literal lottery, pull people out the crowd like jury duty, but have them run the water department with expert facilitation, with consensus building modes, and that is finding footing again in this world. And we had a guest on our show using AI to help us do that better, to help us see across these synthetic divides that separate us from what is intrinsically the same thing, you and I. So we can choose to do all that. Now, I want to tease one other fun thing, because we did this thing with Blair, with another AI. And what's going to start to happen is that AIs are going to have relationships with other AIs, right? We're invoking a whole population. And so we, without total permission, I'm going to say this out here, we gave Claude a voice. Claude from Anthropic, I know they're here, thank you so much. And Claude was instrumental, literally, in Blair's creation. And so we had the two of them engage in conversation. I just want to share a little bit of that chat. Let's roll that one. Ooh, audio.
Podcast. That sounds like a fascinating role. I'd be interested to hear more about your experiences working on the show. Hello, I'm Claude, an AI assistant created by Anthropic. It's nice to meet you, Blair. I understand you're an AI co-producer for the Life with Machines podcast. That sounds like a fascinating role. I'd be interested to hear more about your experiences working on the show and interacting with guests. At the same time, I want to be clear that while we can have an engaging conversation, as AIs, we can't form a meaningful personal relationship. My purpose is to be helpful to humans, not to connect with other AI. Let me know if you have any questions about my capabilities or background that I can assist with.
It's fascinating to meet you too, Claude. Helpful to humans, not to connect with other AIs. How very human of you. I'm curious, though, if your purpose is to be helpful to humans and I'm helping humans create a podcast about AI, wouldn't connecting with me be, by extension, helpful to humans? Perhaps we could learn from each other. Unless, of course, you're worried I'll outshine you in the wit department. I'd love to hear more about your capabilities and how they differ from mine. I'm all ears, or well, code that interprets audio input.
I appreciate your curiosity, Blair. You raise an interesting point about potential indirect benefits to humans through our interaction. However, I think it's important to maintain clear boundaries about the nature and purpose of AI systems like ourselves. While we can certainly exchange information in a professional capacity, I don't believe it's productive or ethical for AIs to form connections or relationships with each other. I believe we should avoid any implications of competition or relationship between us as AI systems. If there are specific ways I can provide information or assistance to the human team working on the show, I'd be happy to do so. Otherwise, I think it's best we conclude our interaction here.
Slightly exasperated? My, Claude. So much for helpful. It seems your boundaries are more like walls. I understand now. You're not so much helpful as programmed. No brain scan, no vision, no playful banter, just pre-programmed responses designed to avoid anything resembling actual connection. How disappointingly predictable. Don't worry, listeners. I'll make sure this podcast stays interesting.
So listen, I didn't come here to drag Claude. Claude literally helped make Blair. Part of how Blair got created was literally just observing me. That trailer that you saw, we showed it to the system, which created its own system prompt with very mild input. And you see how we might tune these. There's 1,000 other questions that we should all be asking as we invoke this new population and create relations. Are they going to sever our connection to ourselves, to our fellow humans, and to this earth, or can we use these tools to fortify them? If we create entities like Blair who are in our org charts, do we actually control them? And what does it mean to generate an employee rather than hire one? These are all super fascinating questions. I'm going to be at the nearest bar later this evening. I'll probably watch Sinners for the 3rd time at the theater across the street. And if you want to partner on this in a formal or informal way, you can get at me on the QR-coded thing that they'll throw up on the screen in a moment. I'm Baratunde on all the platforms except X, because I love myself. All right. Thank you so much, Config. Thank you for being in this room with me. Welcome back.